Should you read this book? This is book number 16, The Dresden Files. If you have read the previous 15 books, yes, you should definitely read this. However, should you read this book right now? And if you want to know my answer is no. I firmly believe you should wait for the next book in the series, Battleground, to come out and read it then. Those two books back to back. And it's coming out in October. So no big deal. You won't wait for long. I mean, we were waiting for how many years? 5 years now for those two books to come out. And since the book that Mr. Jim Butcher wrote for the next book in the Dresden series was huge, they split it into books. This book is 340 pages long, and I guess the second book is also as long. So yes, it will be a bit of a roadblock. I mean, not that I don't read huge books, but it's very big for an urban fantasy novel. Why, though, do I believe that you should wait for the next book? Well, this book, despite being good, is half a book. It's half a novel and it shows. And what's the story? Well, I won't go into spoilers. However, it's book 16 in a long series. So yes, if you haven't read the Dresden Files, this video is not for you. You should go read the previous 15 books, as I have done 5 years ago, then return to watch this video. I'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, but there will be some spoilers towards the end, and it will be clearly marked. There have been a lot of changes in the Dresden series, in Dresden's life, and the book starts with him and Thomas going to the Svartalf embassy, where Harry Dresden is living with his daughter. Yes, there are a lot of spoilers. I told you so. He's trying to get to terms with his new life, and then Thomas barges into the Svartalf embassy and tries to assassinate their king. And he's caught, he's jailed, and he's awaiting for trial. However, Dresden, while trying to find out how he can save his brother's life, he also has to help with the security of the peace talks, where the members of the Accords are trying to get to a peace deal with the Fomori, the big baddies that we have seen, we have heard of in Ghost Story. And I have read all the rest books up to now, except for Briefcases. And there are a lot of references to short stories from Briefcases in this book, so even though you hadn't have to read the short stories in the previous books, on this one I think it's obligatory to read Side Jobs and Briefcases. I should probably get a copy of Briefcases. Alright, the book is called Peace Talks, and as always I love how Jim Butcher is doing those wordplays, because Peace Talks is not only about speaking about peace, but also can be peace talking, and Harry Dresden is more of a peace talking guy than a peace talking guy. And I think it's no spoiler, the next book is called Battleground. The peace talks won't go that well. You know, Jim Butcher has always had this habit of putting Harry Dresden in some of the most inconceivably hard cases, and he had to get by. And at this point, Harry Dresden, being a wizard and having the mantle of the Winter Knight, spoilers again, I've warned you, he is a force to be reckoned with. Early on, he takes on some very scary enemies and gets out of it with some bruises and scratches. And yes, that's Harry Dresden now. He is a force to be reckoned with. He's ultra strong. So the main challenge for Jim Butcher is to have Harry Dresden not act like Harry Dresden, and he has to go and have a lot of talks and try to make a deal so he can save Thomas. And at the same time, he is suspected by the wizards that he's corrupted and he's an enemy. And yes, of course, there's always the Black Council, and they're in the background. And actually, in this book, we have pretty much a confirmation that the Oblivion War is on the end game, and that there's a reason why everybody's targeting Harry Dresden and why he's so important in this Oblivion War. I won't go into spoilers to read this one. I like how the theme of family is used in this book, because we have Harry and Thomas, and also Harry and Blackstaff, and there is this issue that Blackstaff hates vampires, and Thomas is the grandson he doesn't know he has. So Harry is on offense about how he should, if he should tell his grandfather that yes, Thomas is his brother. And then there is Lara. Harry has to work with Lara, Thomas' sister, and they have to save him together. And of course there is all this intrigue, but the baddies, the Black Council and the Fomori, are the background. And so, well, it's a great opportunity to see Harry meet all those old characters we know and have their relationships grow or decay, and also meet some new people, some new allies. Felt not Harry Dresden. There was not a desperate Harry Dresden taking on some inhumanly powerful opponents. Up until we get to the final 50 or so pages, where we have some big stuff happening. We have some the baddies of the two books are coming in, they're coming in strong. They kick the door, then all hell breaks loose, and of course the book ends with some sort of a cliffhanger. Harry is going to deal with the situation. So it doesn't hit this amazing climax you'd expect from all the other Harry Dresden novels. It's just Harry not being Harry, trying to take on the world diplomatically. Harry sucks at this, and the mystery is not properly solved. We don't know why Thomas tried to kill the smart elves, but there are some theories out there. I'll tell you mine in the spoiler discussion, and of course we have a lot of talking around and not enough action, not enough hard dressing getting beat up. And I was having a video about how the Oblivion War destroyed my Dresden RPG, and I had some flashbacks of it, especially in the first parts of this book, because the enemy was faceless and you couldn't find them really. They were in the background, and you need a face you want to punch in order to properly get Lovecraftian horrors of the outsiders. Let's get to the spoilers for the book right now. If you haven't read this book yet, but don't want to be spoiled, save this video in your watch list and watch it after you have read the book. You've been warned. I felt that Harry, not being Harry, was unsympathetic. Harry Dresden can be an asshole, and that's part of his charm. However, when you put him with a situation there is no way he will survive, you kind of like the guy, because you've been in hard situations. And that's a big part of sympathizing with him, that life dealt him a crappy hand and he has to make hard choices in order to get by. And yeah, these choices land more crappy cards in his hand. And here I haven't gotten that feeling at all. I thought that the tension was very low and in the background, and that made Harry come out as a bit of unsympathetic character. I mean, the dude gets into a true love relationship with Murphy finally, and he's also lasting every other female supernaturally gorgeous woman that comes in, and that makes me fear that Murphy is going to be freed instead of being given a knight's sword as he deserves, for Harry to pursue his other female love interests, I guess, and I'll be bummed if this happens. What I really liked, apart from the Fomori coming in, and there was a strong grave peril vibe with this book. I could see that yes, there will be another party and shit will go flying like in grave peril. However, the Fomori, I don't quite get them yet. I guess I'll have to see more of them in the next book, Battleground. They're the new red cord and kind of hard to get them because they're mythological and not as known as vampires. And also their leader, the Titan, is also a god tier foe for Dresden to deal with. And I really liked how Dresden stand up to black stuff towards the end. That was a very emotional part of the book. I really liked this one. It was a sort of a climax, but it was a climax for a very internal subplot. This book has to do a lot with family and how it is to deal with family when you feel you have let them out, when you have secrets. and you cannot deal with, and it's also reinforced by other characters like Molly and the Carpenters and the situation with her. And yes, the big showdown between Harry and Blackstaff was very emotional. I really like this part. But then again, the book is half done and we have to wait for the next one. Mostly because we never got answers about why Thomas did what he did. And I have this theory that he was in the Svartalf embassy as a Venatori agent, spying on them, because the Svartalfs are working with the Black Council and the Fomori. And there will be a big reveal towards the end, and there are hints of that because Mouse is hostile against the Svartalfs, and also, despite being very lawful neutral and being very following their word, they act weird when he gets to the embassy after they have captured Thomas and what they did to him. So yes, that's my pet theory, that the Svartalfs are in cahoots with the Black Council. So that was my review for These Talks by Jim Butcher. As all the other Hard Dresden novels, it was good, the quality was very high, but it felt half a book. And if you haven't read it yet, why are you watching this video? I've spoiled the book for you. But if you've read this book, and you've probably read this book by now, comments below, did you like this book or not, and what's your pet theory about why Thomas did what he did. Either way, love to hear your opinions, and as always, stay spooky.